In this video, we're going to show you 3 different ways to pickle vegetables. Pickling your vegetables is a great way to use up things in your fridge that might be getting ready to go bad.
To make pickled vegetables, you need 3 main components. Your brine, which is made up of vinegar, water, salt, and sugar, vegetables, and your herbs and spices. In these recipes, we'll be using red wine vinegar, rice vinegar, and white vinegar. Vinegar is a fermented product, meaning that it'll have live bacteria and be a probiotic. The vegetables we're going to work with for our recipes today are cucumbers, red onions, and cauliflower. There's really not much that you can't pickle as long as the pickled foods work well with the salty, sour taste. In these recipes, you will see sesame, peppercorn, thyme, turmeric, and cilantro. You can get creative with herb and spice options, but you want to consider which herb or spice will complement your vegetable and vinegar type. If you're not sure where to start, follow your nose. Sniff the various spices you already have and see what speaks to you.
For this pickled vegetable recipe, you'll need a cutting board and a knife or a mandolin. You'll also need a 16-ounce mason jar for each batch of vegetables that you pickle. Cucumbers, botanically speaking, are actually a fruit, but they're still great to pickle. They have higher water content, so not as much fiber as other vegetables, but if you leave the skin on, it does retain some of the fiber. It's also a high in potassium and vitamin K.
The first step is to prepare the cucumbers. We are using a mandolin for very thin slices. The thinner you slice, the more tart of a flavor you'll get since the brine is penetrating the vegetable. You're going to need 1.5 cups of cucumber. Cucumbers are high in water. They have fiber, vitamin K, and potassium. Place your sliced cucumbers into your mason jar. Add 1 tablespoon of liquid aminos, or you can use soy sauce. Add 1 tablespoon of sesame seeds. To prepare your brine, bring to a simmer 3 ounces of rice vinegar and 5 ounces of water. Then add your 1 teaspoon of sugar and half a teaspoon of salt. Whisk your brine until all sugar and salt are dissolved. This should take about 1 to 3 minutes depending on the granulation size of sugar and salt. Remove your brine from heat. Pour your prepared brine over the cucumbers. Lid the jar and place in a fridge for at least an hour. To reduce the risk of botulism, you can also boil your prepared jars.
Onions are another great vegetable to pickle. They're high in vitamin C and packed full of flavor.
Same as for the cucumber recipe, our first step here is to slice the onions. We're using a mandolin again for those extra thin slices. You're going to need 1.5 cups of red onion. These onions will be the perfect addition to any sandwich, toast, or breakfast scramble you make. Onions are also a great source of vitamin C. Place your sliced onion in your mason jar. Add 1 tablespoon of peppercorn and add your 2 sprigs of fresh thyme. This flavor combination is lovely. To prepare your brine, bring to simmer 3 ounces of red wine vinegar and 5 ounces of water. Then add your 1 teaspoon of sugar and half a teaspoon of salt. Whisk until it's dissolved and then remove from heat. Pour the brine over your onions and stick in the fridge for it to cool.
Cauliflower, which is a cruciferous vegetable, is another great item to pickle, and cauliflower is really high in fiber, potassium, and also folate.
For this recipe, you are going to need 1.5 cups of cauliflower florets. Add the half tablespoon of dried turmeric. If you're using fresh turmeric, you'll want to use a full tablespoon, and add in the 2 sprigs of cilantro. You are going to prepare the brine in the same way as you did with the previous 2 recipes. For this one, we're using 3 ounces of white vinegar so that the cilantro and turmeric flavors don't have to compete with the other strong flavors. You will also need 5 ounces of water, half a teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of sugar. Pour your prepared brine over the cauliflower and lid it. If you are using dried spices like we are, you'll want to invert the jar a couple of times to get the spices all mixed up, but note, you do not want to shake the jar. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. Thanks so much for watching.